Hey folks, welcome to Market Technical Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leader in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. Today, Friday, August 29th, 2008. Well, today we saw the sell-off, folks, that we had kind of alluded to in yesterday's video, as we had showed multiple charts yesterday that were on key resistance levels. And we had talked yesterday in the video, and you can go back and watch the video to see about how we were on this kind of a precipice. We were talking about a cliff, and how we were hanging on the cliff, and if we could climb above it, that would be a bullish sign, but it wouldn't surprise us if we saw a sell-off in the markets. And sure enough, today we saw that. We showed multiple charts, whether it was Freddie or Fannie Mae's chart right into the 20 moving average. It was the Nasdaq chart into the 200 at moving average. There were a lot of key indicators yesterday, if nothing else, especially the light volume rise over the past 3 days prior to today, that were signaling the market may need to do a little bit of a pullback action. And sure enough, that's what we saw today. So you can see in the charts here, and again, we're going to go over all the analysis tools about why we thought the market may dip, even though we remained in the neutral stance. And by the way, folks, for all of you curious, we're going to remain neutral until we get to Tuesday. Alright, when we get back to trading on Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday's video on Tuesday evening, we'll then talk about our bias and possibly adjust it from a neutral stance. But as we've said all week, the light volume, it just makes the whippiness in this market, and today's a prime example of that. After a 3-day light volume move up, today you got a plunge on various things out there, and we'll discuss that as well in the markets. And that's just a part of the light volume issue in the markets. And once we get to next week, volume should be returning to normal. But again, the Dow closed down about 171 points today. The Nasdaq was down 44, and the S&P was down about 17 to 18 points. Across the board, anywhere between 1.35 and 1.8% on the Nasdaq drop there, and it was a sizable sell-off. And what happened today? Let's discuss what were the key catalysts of this market downturn. Well, number one, you can look at the hurricane. Okay, you got a hurricane coming into the Gulf of Mexico over the weekend. That's going to make traders nervous. People are going to want to take profits. That's a no-brainer, folks. If you're a trader, if you're an investor who's a short-term investor, are you going to really want to hold over a weekend when a hurricane's coming into a possible ton of oil rigs and maybe take them out? No, you're absolutely not going to want to hold. So you take profits after a 3-day light volume move up. Number two, Dell earnings yesterday. Dell opened up yesterday with some earnings that were not good. Missing earnings, and it's just an ugly report across the board, and Dell got slammed today. Alright, Dell actually moved down. Let's get a print on Dell. Down about 14% today, which for a large cap tech play like that is a huge sell-off, and the Nasdaq was under pressure across the board today. Also, you had some income numbers this morning, at economic numbers of income, which showed a big drop in income levels. Growing income not growing anymore, that's for sure, as they showed some ugly falls there. So all of that combined to show a pretty nasty fall, and we'll go to the intraday ES chart to show the chart today. You can see early in the day leading up to those numbers, that's what you were really seeing, alright? You were seeing a flat market across the board. Oil was trading up early in the day. It started to sell off and again sold off, and it just shows the weak nature of oil. And you have to anticipate, if this hurricane's a non-event, and there is another one coming behind it, I think it's Tropical Storm Hannah, and if none of these hurricanes really come through and do anything, you have to anticipate a fall in oil, because oil just can't catch a bid even with the hurricane. So what does that mean when there's no hurricane out there heading towards the Gulf? That may mean a fall in oil. And funny thing is, just going back to about a month ago to 2 months when oil was trading at 147, I remember distinctly saying on this video that I called for $100 oil by the time the elections come, and it's looking like a possible reality unless we have some major geopolitical or weather event. But what you can see here, folks, is that right around 8:30, which was right around here, you start to see a downdraft, and that was when we first got the not only the news from Dell, obviously, yesterday, but the income numbers and the various economic numbers this morning. And you had a little bit of a fall, and then all of a sudden on light volume, they slapped the market right up, right around 9:30 on the open. But notice where we went to, alright? Notice the double top nature of this market. In fact, you can even stretch it out even all the way back to here, and you can see the resistance level, very, very heavy resistance up here on the intraday chart on the futures here. And then you just started the selling, and the selling started, abated here, started a little more, you had a little consolidation, and that's what this pattern is right here, folks. You're really seeing the lows right here being support on the market. Once that broke, you saw a little bit of a move down, and then we seem to come to some decent support right around that 1280, 81 to 82 mark on the futures. All right, we'll look at the intraday S&P SPY as well. But right off this support level right here, you really got a bid back in the market in afternoon, and part of that was that Gustav, again, is not expected to be as deadly a hurricane. Oil had come down and gone negative after being up about $2 during the day, and that helped the markets regain a little bit of the action to move here across the afternoon session. Then again, you got profit taking into the close, and they actually closed the market pretty much at the lows of the day here, even taking out the afternoon support line right here. So a pretty wild day on the markets, even though the volume was so light. Just 1.35 million contracts, and trust me, if there was no Dell number yesterday, if there was no an economic number this morning, we would have seen even lighter numbers. Now let's look at the daily chart, because this daily chart of the futures we can actually analyze today. We'll go over the ES as well, the SPY as well. But again, just to note here, folks, we're really in a sideways pattern. You can see the, in fact, let me extend this support resistance line now up even further. You can see how this line is really key to this market. And we had pushed up basically touching that resistance, and I'll show you that on the SPY in a minute. But you had just basically a nice move yesterday on light volume and a reversal today. And that's the nature of light volume. Whenever you have that, have a big up day on light volume. If you have another up day, it could be easily a down day of just that equal proportions. And you can see right on the chart here that that's the way it was today off of that Dell news. I want to go to the SPY chart because this shows us a little more accurately the S&P chart overall. And I want to just draw in this line because I love this line here. Alright, you can see the support line that we've been talking about for so long, which was support all the way until we broke. Now it's become resistance to the upside. And notice the two times, once we got below, you established the key support line right here in the market. And we tested the upside resistance line. Remember, support on the, once it's broken, becomes resistance on the upside. And you see we tested it there. We sold off to the support line on the downside. We rebounded up to test it again. And now we're selling off that point all the way down to the 20 moving average. Now, key near-term support on this daily chart is the 20 right here, and we're right on top of it. Alright, after that, you basically have this line right here, which is the bottom of the little bit of a channel that I believe we've been in, and you can even draw the line right here to really show, from really the tops of these points all the way across, where we tested it here and here. So right now, look at this channel. Watch this channel. It's my belief that it is a channel right now, and you're really just bouncing up and down on light volume in August here, or at least in late August. Now we're going to go into September, and volume should kick in this market, and we should have a move one way or the other. We're still anticipating, even if we have a little down day, I don't know what Tuesday will bring. Monday the markets are closed. Tuesday I'm not exactly sure because it's still like volume action, like a little hangover effect. Really, Tuesday's night's video will be the key video to watch, as we'll try to gauge this market once we get some volume back in. But it wouldn't surprise me to either move back up a little bit or retest down here, really, to be honest, on light volume come Tuesday, alright? So again, the one thing about Tuesday, and this is why you really wanted to go into the weekend with no positions or as light as possible as traders. And, you know, long-term investors it's not as important for, but traders or swing traders wanted to be very careful here because that storm is an unknown event right now. All right, you have a major destructive, catastrophic storm in the Gulf by Tuesday. That's going to take the markets to down. I mean, it's no doubt about it. You have another Katrina's type situation, and that's going to slam the markets. You have a non-event where the kind of doesn't do anything to the oil rigs. It passes right through on Tuesday. Well, then guess what? Oil's coming down. All right, oil will drop if that happens. Absolutely will drop, and all of a sudden the market should catch a bid as long as no financial firms decide to throw in the towel. And that's my one concern going forward, folks, is that we all know that there are some stressed financials out there. At some point, there's going to be another take under, like a Bear Stearns type situation, whether it's Washington Mutual, whether it's one of these other players, I don't know. But that's the one little if thing in the market that scares me, okay? Otherwise, as long as everything's, pretty much on point here, I think that through mid-September to late September, you may see an uptrend in the market develop where we go a little higher while we're consolidating here, okay? Then after that, it's all up in the air, and we'll analyze it, but we may see a large down move. We'll have to see that as we get closer to it and look for key turn dates, which have been extremely accurate over the past 1.5 to 2 years since we've been doing them. Unbelievable. I'd say never more than a couple days off, and most of them are almost dead on, as you guys saw Monday's decline, which was called to the day. Alright, folks, so keep that in mind. Let's quickly look at the Nasdaq and a couple of these other charts. Remember, yesterday I noted on the Nasdaq, we were on that cliff of the Nasdaq resistance right here. You can check the video from yesterday. Perfectly done. You can see the sell-off that ensued off of that key cliff. We kind of fell off the cliff there a little bit, or down the hill at least. We'll see if we regain that on Monday and climb back up or not. On the Freddie chart, Remember, we touched the 20 moving average. We said that might signal a little downdraft. Sure enough, sold off today about 12% on Freddie. On Fannie, FNM, same thing. Hit it, and we called this yesterday for a little resistance. Sure enough, down day, about $1.11 down on a $7 stock there on Fannie Mae. So that's really just kind of looking at the charts and really being accurate and just knowing what kind of market we've been in on light volume, taking into account the volume, taking into account moving averages, taking into account different technical patterns. And, for all we know, this will consolidate and break out. I mean, this could be developing into consolidation. It's too early to know, but it could be developing into a consolidation pattern. So in any case, folks, just an overall interesting market. Let's remain neutral through Tuesday, then we'll re-grasp things coming into Tuesday's video and hopefully get a direction sense on Tuesday night. One thing I will say, starting in September, guys, volume will come back in this market. Join the swing trade alerts. Join the chat room. Our new website's going to launch very soon. It's going to be fantastic. I hope everyone